This is my ID number, 990-246.
To Israeli authorities, Omar Assaf was a prisoner held as a risk to national security. But the 74-year-old social activist sees it very differently. I feel what happened to me as I was taken hostage. I was a hostage of war, he says. Assaf was arrested at his home in the occupied West Bank in late October for protesting Israel's bombing of Gaza. Never charged with a crime, he still spent 6 months in an Israeli military jail. His family barely recognized him when he was finally let go. He says with a lack of food and filthy, crowded conditions, he lost 29 kilograms.
We haven't any meat. We haven't any fruits.
So you were hungry all the time?
Yes, hungry all the time.
Advocates for Palestinian prisoners say Israel's jails are full of people being held under what's known as administrative detention. They say that's when an Israeli military judge can incarcerate someone for up to 6 months simply for believing they might be a security threat. Prisoners groups claim there are now 3,400 Palestinians currently in jail under administrative detention. These people have been arrested under what I've called the category of revenge and collective punishment, said Amani Saharna of the Palestinian Prisoner Society. Some Palestinians arrested in Israeli raids have been convicted of what Israel calls terrorist attacks. But many others were locked up for acts such as throwing rocks. 18 Palestinians have died in Israeli jails since October the 7th. Assaf says while he was not physically beaten, he was held in an area next to where people from Gaza were. They beat on them all day, he says. This is something we heard. They brought dogs into their rooms and then asked them to bark like dogs. The United States says it's looking into the reports of serious human rights violations against detained Palestinians, including torture.
It must treat all detainees humanely.
In an email to CBC News, Israel's prison system wrote, "All prisoners are detained according to the law. All basic rights required are fully applied by professionally trained prison guards." Jamal and Samia El Kafri have 4 sons, and all have been in Israeli jails at some point. Last fall, 31-year-old Yassin was held on administrative detention after an altercation with Israeli security forces when someone pulled a gun. The family denies it was Yassin. His sons now live with the couple. They say the evidence against him has not been revealed, nor can they see or talk to him in jail. "We're in deep sadness," she said. Yassin was working. He was the one who was bringing money into the house. The family says they feel the international community has ignored how Israel treats Palestinian prisoners. "We have 100 Israelis taken hostage and the whole world is asking for their release," he said. "It's a double standard situation." Israel's government resolutely rejects any equivalence between Palestinian detainees and the hostages captured and held by Hamas. The Al-Kafri family says they're desperate for another truce and another hostage and detainee swap that could bring their son home.